Welcome, people of the World Wide Web. So this is Chris from Cypher Sigma Screen Time, and yes, this is my YouTube channel. If you've just stumbled across it, this is my bi-weekly video series where I show you what I have been watching. There are a lot of other content. I do movie reviews at the weekend from new films, and then I do pickups and everything else in between. So first off, let's have a look at the pile, what we have here. So this is everything I have been watching, plus some online stuff. So yes, this video features physical media and streaming, but it doesn't feature new movies that I've seen at the cinema. Those are on a separate video. So let's get into it. So first off, we have a series called The Feud. This is on Netflix. This is, I think, from an ITV series that has obviously gone over to the Netflix platform. It's 6-episode series, and it is essentially about a family. You find out there has been a murder, which is kind of how the first of each episode starts, with some sort of scene or setting that something has happened you don't really get to see a lot, and then you know someone has been murdered, and then basically the episode rewinds, and then you have the story of all these people in the street. You have this family, you have their next door neighbors, and then you on both sides, and it is a bit of kind of everyone has a secret and stuff to do. And essentially the main lady's trying to build a conservatory. She's having family issues, and there are a lot of link and connections. There are quite a few famous people appear in this, from British comedies and stuff, from Only Fools and Horses and Vicar of Dibley. And it was all right. It was, not a little bit silly, but a little bit far-fetched in places and stuff like that. It wasn't sit on the edge of your seat. Some of it, you're a bit predictable and stuff like this, but it was all right for what it was. So that is the first one on Netflix. So also, I believe on Netflix is a movie called Bandits. This is a Josh Duhamel comedy kind of heists. Well, I wouldn't say necessarily, maybe more of a heist type movie. Essentially, he likes to rob banks, essentially. It stars Mel Gibson as well. And he basically gets out of jail and decides to kind of come up with all his schemes to nick money to kind of build himself up in the well. He gets a girlfriend along the way who lets him into his like halfway house where he stays, because he moves from like he gets out from the United States and kind of moves to Canada because he's kind of hiding for his tax evasion. And it's kind of his life, how he kind of does stuff and that. Very interesting, very fun movie. And that is, yes, I say, it's the kind of thief with a little bit of charm and a little bit of comedy involved. And it was good over the course of watching a few hours. I believe it's just under 2 hours. Next one we will go up is also on Netflix. So I do own this movie, but just out of convenience, I decided to put it on. So it's Don't Say a Word. So this is Michael Douglas movie where he is given a psych patient to basically try and help, and this daughter is the witness to a dad who was part of a gang who who basically performed a robbery, and then he double-crossed them and he hid the gem, and she's the only person that knows where it is. Sean Bean is the head of the gang, and he basically kidnaps Michael Douglas's daughter, and then basically convinces him to find out where this gem was that's worth like 5 million. It was kind of 90s-esque movies. It was a really fun movie. Stars obviously Brittany Murphy as well. I don't know if this is one of the last movies she did before she died. So there is that. There is one more, but we will get into it. So then we'll get into the physical media. So first up, we have what I bought off Mike from Did You See That? It Is the Thing. So really enjoyed my rewatch of this movie. Really like this one. For some reason, I've seen this a few times. I haven't watched it in a long time. I forgot that obviously Kurt Russell and the other guy are left alive at the end. For some reason, I thought everything gets destroyed. And then I kind of think I've merged the remake and this together. Wasn't a problem. Still enjoyable movie. Still good for a movie. It's still the defibrillator scene always sticks with me and always will do. The practical effects and what they do of it are really, really great at the time. Obviously, being a massive dog owner, I wasn't too big fan of the dog scene, and I'm glad not too many of them were shown to be hurt. Obviously, it is fake, but yeah, but that aside, I thought it was very clever. Always kind of keeps you guessing for a lot of sections, who's who and stuff like this, and yeah, and it was a lot of practical effects, which I'm a massive fan of. So I really enjoyed The Thing. So next up was the ones that I had my keyboard discard pile. So I'm literally through that now, and I think one of the last ones was this. So this was The Artist. I'm a big believer on anything that kind of wins the Oscar or something like that. I do go and watch it, or big movies, I try and watch them. I'm surprised, obviously, I was surprised it was black and white, and I weren't too sure what to expect. I hadn't seen anything of it, hadn't even seen the trailer. All I knew it was a black and white comedy. Didn't know essentially there is no kind of sound. It is all done through this kind of the speech ones all the way up until the end. But actually, the actor and actress and how they got on together, and I actually really, really enjoyed this movie. Quite surprised. It did remind me a little bit of. I don't think it's Singing in the Rain. I think it's another movie like that. I can't remember what it's called now. It was an old black and white movie where it says about obviously they're kind of phasing out black and white movies and leading toward this. And this very much had, I think, a few elements of it. I can see because of how unique it was that it got what it did. As I say, I kind of enjoyed the movie overall as it got further on. Enjoyed the dog as well. I thought it was very clever with the little dog and stuff like this. So yeah, this will be kept in the collection because I actually enjoyed this. I probably would go back and watch this multiple times. So next up was a short one that I'd got and picked up this month. So this is the complete series, only 5 episodes of the Swamp Thing animated series. And I did really enjoy this. The fact we only got 5 episodes is a bit of a shame. Knowing the toys and watching the toy videos of late, because I have a few of the toys, I've seen how they integrated some of the stuff into it. I thought was very clever. Knowing obviously the toys and more, I kind of feel like what was left out, what would have been the rest of this series. The theme song is very catchy, and I thought the stories were quite fun to watch. So glad to have this in the collection. Obviously, when it's 5 episodes, obviously it did cost me quite a bit for the 5 episodes, but by the by. Next up, we have Man of Steel. So this is, I didn't have a 3D compatibility, so I didn't watch the 3D version of it. I watched it in 2D, watched it on my new 4K player to upscale it, and I did enjoy it for the most part. Rewatching this movie now, I am a very much fan of like the first 40 minutes. Russell Crowe, I absolutely adore this movie, and the show of Krypton and everything else leading up to it before Kal-El is shot off and comes to Earth, I absolutely find amazing. When he gets to Earth and when he's a kid and stuff like that, I do enjoy those scenes. And then as it gets later into the movie and stuff, and I think I've covered this, there are a lot of links and a lot of replication of what has been done in the Christopher Reeves, and you have Zod and stuff like this. And for me, and being a comic fan, I do still find it very hard the fact Superman would have to kill Zod. I get it, there is a reason, and kind of Zack Snyder put it into this, but for me it just doesn't feel like Superman would ever do that. I get it, it's a dark reality and they're doing stuff there, it's if we're going to hold Superman accountable for being Superman, he doesn't kill, he will find any which way. And obviously there are ways in the franchise that he could have been locked away, and the fact that obviously he's kind of used as a plot device to bring in Doomsday. Amy Adams is all right. I enjoy The Parents, but obviously AJ has brought this point up, so it's not just me who thinks this, that the fact that you can move faster than a speeding bullet, but your dad tells you to wait there and stuff like this. A few stupid decisions of why they're doing that. Again, these decisions kind of mirror a little bit what happened in the first Superman movie, whether it's Zack Snyder wanting to pay homage to that. But it was an enjoyable film, as I say, but the first 40 minutes I absolutely adore, amazing. If the rest of the movie was like that, but you can't have everything. So next up, we have one I picked up, my favourite movie from, I think, 2024. Yeah, it is It Ends With Us. So on my rewatch, was very interesting. So obviously, as we all know, Blake Lively and whatever his name is, Justin Theroux, there's so much there. And when I put this on, part of me was a bit like, oh, you kind of already have no other sense of all this crap that happens with it, and is it going to affect my thing? But actually, as it went on, I really enjoyed this film. I still think it is a great adaptation. I don't think for everything that's happened we're ever going to get a sequel, which is a shame because this is such a good movie. And essentially, I think the best thing that still stuck true and still enjoyed it and when I say enjoyed it, I enjoyed it for its how it enlightened me. And I know there was a lot of thing, and people hated a lot the fact that Blake Lively highlighted and promoted this as a kind of chick flick movie, and it isn't. It covers, and I'm spoiler alert for it covers domestic abuse. But I think going into this film and understanding the characters and not knowing that, you so much get a better sense of what some people go through, and you can kind of better understand people that are in that situation. And I think in a world where so much stuff is complicated, to better understand stuff means we would have more empathy and more, more consideration and everything else for people that are put in those situations that is out of their control. And I think that the fact that's what I take out of that, I think this movie not only has been an enjoyable experience for the most part, but because I'm now more aware of this, I think I'm maybe a little bit more of a better human being, so to speak, to understand people in certain circumstances that I may not have understood before. There is that. So next up we have is Tom Hanks's Captain Phillips. Obviously it's back to Somali Pirates, based on real life. Didn't know what to expect. I enjoyed it. It wasn't amazing. I think throughout it was interesting to learn the story and the real life, and I'm always interested to learn about that. I think the thing that made me, and I think AJ gifted me this, so I'm not going to get rid of it, but there was a scene near the end where he has blood on him and he's being analysed, and he just has kind of a breakdown, and to that just cemented to me how good of an actor Tom Hanks is. That, I can watch a film that he is in that I can enjoy for the most part and understand that it's based on real life events, but it's just this traumatic scene that this total display of emotion on such a different level has such an impact on me that I'm like, yes, what a memory to take away from it, even though it's horrific what had happened to him. Mentally more than physically. He was hurt a little bit physically for it, but obviously I don't know. Next up, we have Neil Blomkamp's District 9. So this was an upgrade. I think, again, this may have come from AJ. Apologies if it hasn't. Really, really love this movie. Shelto Copley, I'm a massive, massive fan of. He is a great actor. It's a shame, obviously, we had this and Chappie and that, and then we've not kind of had nothing more from this guy. Obviously, he did the Dune movies, I believe, if I'm getting the right person. Now he's gone on to James Bond. But I kind of like the kind of South African kind of environment and texture, and his not Shelto Copley, Guillermo del Toro. He has this kind of feel and effect, and I liked it. Really good at the bugs and everything else, and very clever. And the fact it's kind of a unfortunately not the greatest story, but it kind of keeps in the core elements of the fact that his wife still loves him, and obviously he still gives her gifts even though he's kind of been mutated due to an accident. Next up we had, so this is a anime series that I bought a while ago. AJ also bought this as well, called Captain Earth. Now anybody who's out there who's watching this and own this, and AJ, this is for you, this does not have audio dubs. This is subtitled only, so you will have to watch it and read the subtitles. Obviously it's 26 episodes. If you're not prepared for that, then maybe this is not for you. Just putting it out there. Really enjoyed this. Essentially this is about 3 kids who kind of meet up, and 2 of these kids are kind of artificial beings. It's a little strange. Essentially they all have this connection. They can turn on this energy that then creates and powers these robots, which they help try and defeat the bad guys. And then you kind of have an evil bad that is kind of behind the scenes of it. Really enjoyed the combination of kind of human animation, bots fight on an Earth, and then big robots fighting there. I liked it. There were some bits that it got into a little bit Power Rangery, that there is kind of this sequence that you go through to kind of get their little robot to become a big robot and a rocket launching Earth. And by kind of that episode 20, I was glad that you didn't see too much of that because I was a bit fed up. brilliant idea, and the space stations and everything else linking up, but for me. But yeah, I did enjoy it. Obviously, standalone kind of has a complete story, so glad to have that in the series. Next up, we have another one, I think from 2024. This was so it was Never Let Go. Again, really enjoy this movie. It has obviously the subtle undertone of there is a darkness there. I think the kids were the standout. Halle Berry is a good actress, and I do really like her in this. I think the kids by far had the standout of this, and in fact, this kind of keeps you guessing throughout most. Will they, won't they, is it? And then when you kind of have the realization of what the last kind of scene is, I think it's very clever. So yeah, so I think this is like a really, really clever horror movie. And I say I'm not the biggest horror fans, but I really enjoy this. So then next up we go to more Steelbooks. So this is Angels and Demons. So this is the second movie in the Dan Brown book adaptation. Tom Hanks again, unintentionally, about obviously the Conclave, which I forgot, and obviously haven't seen the movie Conclave now. I understand that a little bit more, and obviously the not bishops, I can't remember what you call them now. They're basically members of the Cardinals. Several of the Cardinals have been kidnapped, and some person is out there doing ritual ones because he's part of the Illuminati and stuff. And I think it's very clever. I do really enjoy the Dan Brown books because I've read, I think, the first 4 or 5, all the ones that were adaptation. By far, obviously, Da Vinci Code is great, and I think just The Disciple in that is such a good film and a good adaptation and a good book that I think this is a good follow-up. But obviously, when the top one's up here, you just have to reach so much, and I think I think unfortunately, it never would have adapted as great as it could have been. So let me go into more movies. So this is one I kind of had on my radar for a little while. I've watched it ages ago and rewatched it again. So this is Instant Family. So this is essentially these two, they end up adopting, and it's American adoption, and they like this girl, and basically she comes with 2 younger kids, and it's all the trauma, the trials and everything else that come with it. Very enlightening, very interesting, very funny from Mark One. Very great film. It's very interesting. Obviously, I don't know obviously what life's like in America and stuff like this. So it's very interesting. I don't know how accurate this is to what adoption is like that, but it's still very interesting, I find, and very an enjoyable movie and heartfelt in places. Next up, we have this. So this I thought was a series, but it's actually a film. It's 2.5 hours long, and it is essentially a Street Fighter movie. Kind of what you see is what you get at the back. It is Goku and Ryu being trained by their master, and then kind of Akuma coming in near the end. Initially, it looks good. 2 hours and 40 minutes or something what it is. Far too long, far too much, not enough going on. Poor acting and stuff in places that this will leave the collection. Like, I'm happy to have seen it. I do like Street Fighter, but yeah, this isn't one I ever want to ever revisit. And the fact I started watching and thinking I may have already seen this, but it is what it is. I've enjoyed it. Next up, we have The Lost City. So this is Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum, where she is a writer. Kind of, we have quite a few films around this time with like Argyle and stuff that they're a writer when they get kidnapped or thrown into it. Obviously, this was done around the same time as Bullet Train, which is why we have Brad Pitt in it for a small period. But I really enjoyed this. I do love Sandra Bullock anyway, and I do like the pairing of these two. I thought it worked very well and very clever and very silly. Daniel Radcliffe was quite good as a villain. It's kind of just a fun movie. You can kind of turn off your brain and just enjoy it for what it is. So there is that. Okay, so we have one more. So we have Just Cause. So this was on Netflix, but unfortunately has just left it. Me and my wife watched it just before the final week. This is a story of a lawyer or used to be a lawyer. I've got to remember the character's name now. So essentially you have this person of colour who's arrested for abusing and killing this young girl, raping her, he is questioned by Lawrence Fishburne, who basically tortures him for 24 hours, and then he gives up that he was guilty and goes to jail. His mum then approaches a retired lawyer, and for some reason the name of the actor does escape me. Sean Connery. So approaches Sean Connery. Sean Connery hasn't been a lawyer for 24, 25 years. He then kind of comes out of retirement, starts looking into it, and then starts going through it. He finds the guy of color who is the person in jail. He has been partnered with another guy who's a serial killer. Once he kind of has this connection, manages to give him details towards a weapon and something. During this, they managed to get that guy freed. But then it turns out he did actually do it, and he was in league with this other guy to get him distracted. And he goes and kidnaps Sean Connery's family, and then there's a standoff. Very 90s, very kind of did he, didn't he, court case one, which me and my wife do quite enjoy these movies and stuff like this. Kind of as it got on, I thought for me, it was a little bit more predictable, and I could kind of guess where it was going. But, you never know. Not everyone can guess that. But I did really enjoy it from that side of things. Don't own it. I would keep an eye out for it. Then next up, we have the final two. So first we have a series. So this is the Region 1 series of The Tick. Now, very interesting. I watched all of this, enjoyed it, brought back very fond memories. So when I started comic collecting when I was 13, my dad bought me 3 comics. He bought me Helena, he bought me an issue of Tick, and he bought me the graphic novel of Mutant Massacre. So since a 13-year-old, and obviously watching this as a cartoon, I have been a fan of the Tick and really enjoyed revisiting this. The first series has 13 episodes, but this set only includes 12. There is a Mole Man episode that has not been released, and I couldn't find why, so that was very interesting. So if you're a Tick fan and know that, please let me know in the comments. I like the fact that this is bossed, and I did enjoy the whole silliness of it. As I say, going back and rewatching it, I thought the designs of the characters and how they were drawn and everything else is very, very clever, really, really great. Very much a little bit of a unique style for its time, with obviously when you have X-Men and stuff like that. But I like some of the characters and how they are drawn, and like Elseed and that. I thought were very clever. So yeah, that is the Tick. We then get to the final one. So it is the Steelbook that I believe AJ gifted me, as you see, AJ just did, and it is The Expendables. So it's been a long, long time since I revisited this. Big fan of Jet Li, and I did enjoy it. Didn't realize how old this movie was, and how when you see 2000, it's 15 years, you see how young Sly actually looks compared to what he looks like now. Obviously having Arnold Schwarzenegger in there, and a joke about him wanting to be president, I thought it was very funny. And Bruce Willis. I know Bruce Willis, I don't think, returned for 2 because he wanted more money. We now understand why that was. I thought it was very clever of how they do it, and obviously it's very macho. These guys blowing up stuff and blowing everybody away and stuff like this. I had a very, very fun time rewatching it. I like all the characters of Christmas, and it was nice to kind of wash the thought of 4, because I can barely remember 4 now, apart from him like burning up a body and then them having a really kind of carts driving around this kind of track thing, trying to shoot each other, looked really bad. But yeah, I did really enjoy it. Glad to have the Steelbook, so thank you very much, AJ, for gifting me that. And that is everything that I've been watching. As you can see, I have a very eclectic taste, and if you follow my channel, you would have seen recently I pulled out every other movie I haven't seen. So I have a lot of poor, probably B, C-list movies, I would say, sit on there. But obviously, if you do come across this channel, there is something that you like, if there maybe is not a popular movie, or maybe if there is a popular movie that you think I would like, please do suggest it in the comments below. I will happily look out for it, buy it if I don't already have and add it to my collection to watch. Otherwise, I've been Chris from Cypher Sigma Screen Time. If you've got this far in the video, please do consider to subscribe if you've not already. This helps basically grow the people who watch my video. Obviously, when you like and subscribe, essentially you are responding to the algorithm, which is working in the scenes, which just helps my videos be seen by more people. This helps me to build a bit more popularity. Obviously, at this present time, I don't earn anything from this channel. This is just a outlet for me to discuss my passions, and I would really like to carry on that. And giving me feedback, which way of commenting, likes, whatever, is always a positive. Otherwise, that's boring stuff out of the way. Thank you very much for watching this video. I've been Chris from Sci Screen Time. Hopefully, you have a great week wherever you are and whatever you're doing, and I'll definitely see you in the next one.